The Mosuo people, an ethnic minority residing near Lugu Lake in the Yunnan and Sichuan provinces of China, offer one of the most compelling sociological case studies in human history. Often described as China's last matrilineal society, their culture is defined by a unique kinship structure that prioritizes maternal lineage, communal living, and the absence of traditional, legal marriage. The matrilineal foundation. At the heart of Mosuo society is the matrilineal family unit, or house. Unlike patrilineal societies where lineage and property follow the father, the Mosuo trace their heritage exclusively through the mother. Multiple generations live under one roof, consisting of the maternal grandmother, her sisters and brothers, her daughters and sons, and the grandchildren. The matriarch. The family is typically led by a senior woman known as the dabu. She is selected for her wisdom and capability, managing the household's finances, assigning labor, and ensuring the equitable distribution of resources. Property and inheritance. Property remains within the maternal line. There is no concept of a wedding that involves the transfer of wealth, nor are there inheritance disputes, as the house acts as a permanent, continuous entity. The walking marriage, Sohun. The most famous, and frequently misunderstood, aspect of Mosuo culture is the Zohun, or walking marriage. In this system, formal marriage is non-existent. The nature of the bond. A walking marriage is a visiting relationship based solely on affection. A man may visit a woman at her home at night and return to his own maternal household in the morning. No legal ties. Because partners do not cohabit, share property, or take on each other's legal responsibilities, the relationship is free from the economic and political pressures that often destabilize marriages in other cultures. If the attraction fades, the relationship simply ends without the need for divorce, child custody battles, or asset division. Paternal roles. In this structure, the biological father has limited responsibility for his own children. Instead, a man's primary responsibility is to his own maternal family, specifically in helping to raise his sister's children. The children, meanwhile, grow up in a stable environment supported by their mother, grandmother, and maternal uncles. Social dynamics and stability. The Mosuo system effectively removes the strife often associated with domestic life in other cultures. Because there is no dowry, no private property to divide, and no expectation of a lifelong legal contract, the Mosuo experience a high degree of gender equality and social cohesion. Gender roles. While women hold significant authority in household and economic decisions, men are highly respected and perform vital roles in community and spiritual life. The society does not view men as outsiders to the family, but rather as distinct contributors to the maternal lineage. Rites of passage. Adulthood is marked by a coming-of-age ceremony around the age of 13, where boys receive their first trousers and girls their first skirt, symbolizing their readiness to contribute to the family and participate in the community's social customs. Before their coming-of-age ceremony, Mosuo children do not distinguish their attire by gender. Regardless of whether they are boys or girls, children wear a long linen shirt or long gown. This gender-neutral clothing signifies their status as children who are not yet full members of adult society, and they are restricted from participating in certain religious rites or activities reserved for adults. The transition to adult clothing, receiving their first skirt for girls or first trousers for boys, is the central symbolic act of the coming-of-age ceremony, marking their entry into adulthood and their new responsibilities within the family and community. The Mosuo remain a testament to alternative forms of social organization. By decoupling romantic partnerships from economic survival and childrearing, they have fostered a community that prioritizes maternal stability, individual autonomy, and the strength of the extended family unit. The transition from traditional, agriculture-based livelihoods to a tourism-driven economy has fundamentally altered the role of the dabu, matriarch, within the Mosuo family. While the dabu remains a symbol of cultural identity, her functional authority is shifting in response to new economic and social realities. The evolution of the dabu's authority. Traditionally, the dabu held undisputed authority over the house. She was the primary economic manager, responsible for agricultural production, the distribution of resources, and the management of family finances. From agriculture to tourism, as the economy shifted from subsistence farming to the service sector and tourism, the nature of wealth changed. Money is now often generated through individual or small group involvement in the tourism trade rather than collective agricultural labor. Consequently, the Dabu, who previously controlled the collective output of the entire clan, now faces challenges in maintaining total control over individual family members' earnings. The rise of nuclear aspirations. As younger Mosuo are exposed to mainstream Han Chinese patriarchal norms, many are seeking to establish their own independent households. This shift toward nuclear families directly threatens the Dabu's traditional role, as the extended matrilineal clan, the very foundation of her power, begins to fragment into smaller units. Intergenerational tensions. Younger generations who work in cities or are educated in mainstream systems often bring back different values regarding marriage, property, and autonomy. This can create friction between the Dabu's traditional decision-making processes and the individualistic goals of the youth. A symbolic versus practical role. Despite these pressures, the Dabu remains a vital figure. Cultural guardian. In many families, the Dabu is still viewed as the repository of Mosuo wisdom, spiritual knowledge, and history. Even in households that are adopting modern features, the grandmother's house is often preserved as a symbolic or social space that honors the matriarchal line, maintaining a physical link to tradition. Adaptation rather than erasure. Rather than disappearing, the Dabu role is evolving. In some families, the Dabu has transitioned from a strict taskmaster of agricultural labor to a matriarchal advisor who manages the transition of the family into the modern economy, sometimes overseeing family-run guest houses or tourism-related businesses. The core challenge. The primary challenge for the modern Dabu is the erosion of the communal house structure. The Mosuo system historically relied on the total integration of labor and resources within the maternal clan. The younger generation of the Mosuo community is currently navigating a period of profound cultural transition. As they integrate more deeply into China's broader educational and economic landscape, their perspectives on traditional matrilineal structures are nuanced, often blending a deep respect for their heritage with a desire for individual autonomy. Now, as individual members find they can achieve economic security independently through tourism or city jobs, the necessity for a central matriarchal manager diminishes. In 2026, the Dabu represents the living side of Mosuo heritage. She is both a survivor of a previous era and a navigator of a complex, rapidly changing one. For many, the core of their identity remains firmly anchored in the Lugu Lake region. There is a burgeoning effort among the youth to reclaim the narrative of their culture, moving away from the exotic tourist attraction trope and toward a self-defined identity that values their unique history while acknowledging their place in a modern, interconnected China. Ultimately, the next generation is defining what it means to be Mosuo in the 21st century, a synthesis where one can value the maternal line as a source of strength while exploring the freedom of modern, individualistic life. While her absolute control over every aspect of daily life may be receding, her status as the symbolic anchor of the matrilineal identity remains a powerful force in Mosuo life. For some aspects of Mosuo life, not included in this presentation, check shorts on our channel. Thank you for watching. I hope it was interesting. It was for me to find such an interesting details of Mosuo life. Like it as a token of appreciation of my work, share it. Remember to subscribe to my channel. New videos are coming every few days.